Whoa, 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 at the break of the rising dawn, as the night's last shadows are gone, a spark ignites across the sky. Truth comes rolling in high. Hear the drum of the unheard. Feel the power of the word. We rise from dark to light, cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise, justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight. This is dawn and justice, let's rise. Across the wire, through the storm, we won't conform, we won't be warned. Every voice, every sign, we draw the waking line. Screens light up, the message clear. No more running, no more fear. From the ashes, from the night, we carry forward burning light. Dark to light, night to dawn. Truth lives on. We press on. We rise from dark to light, cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise, justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight, we stand together in the light. This is dawning justice, let's rise. This is dawning justice, let's rise.
Good morning, everyone. I am Josh the Justice Cometh, and this is Dawning Justice. This is your morning news wrap up, digs, and drop show. So, welcome in, everybody. So, as you can see, I've put the big chat back up on the screen because I hope it's all working because I tried to throw this together at kind of the last minute. I stopped using it because I share a lot of screens, and sometimes you gotta finagle this because that's technically like a share screen a little bit. So I'm hoping that it's working for you today. I see X feeding through. I see Rumble feeding through. Oh gosh, YouTube is feeding through. So awesome, awesome. And I'm going to test out Pilled real quick. So let me do that. Give me just 1 second, guys. I think that you'll really appreciate this if it yep, there it is. So good morning, everyone. So I'm hoping that Facebook works. Facebook's kind of finicky a little bit with their chats because it's a different kind of chat. But if it doesn't, we will figure it out tomorrow. So good morning, everybody. So gosh, election time is here. We still got the primaries rolling in California. That is an absolute mess. So we'll get into a little bit of that. We've got a bunch of President Trump clips that we're going to talk about. We've got some Vance Rubio clips. Let's see what else we got. We got some meteor news too. Oh, we got a little bit of conspiracy stuff, just a little bit. Casey Coyle is in the chat this morning. Guys, it is like 5 or 4 o'clock a.m. there where she's at. So thank you so much, Casey, for checking in with us. And we'll go through the chat here in just a second because the chat's already lively. As I was getting all this together and getting ready, I have my chats pulled up, and I was frantically getting ready, and out of the corner of my eye, it was like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, my gosh, guys, the show hadn't even started yet. So I am so glad that we're finally starting to catch on just a little bit. Now, remember that Dawning Justice brought to you by justiceshrooms.com and justicepetclub.com. So if you're interested in getting your body and your pet's body's check engine light turned off, because, guys, listen, your body gives you all kinds of check engine lights. So does your pet. Your pet starts losing their hair a little bit. The hair color starts getting to be really dull. You're out of energy. You wake up out of energy. You go to sleep and you're absolutely exhausted, or you can't even make it through the day without wanting to take a nap. Guys, listen, I'm telling you, it was about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd be driving home from work or wherever I was at, and I'd be like, and guys, I do get up early, but still, that's not the point. So turn off your check engine light, turn off your pet's check engine light, get your body back into balance. JusticeRooms.com for you, JusticePetClub.com for your little furry friends. All right, so guys, we've got a ton of news to get into, but before we start getting in the news, we are broadcasting from Rumble. So if you are in my Rumble chat and you're having a great morning all morning, go ahead and give me a 17 out there. Let's see some 17s out there. AJP likes to do call outs and stuff, and it's really fun. So, guys, give me a 17 this morning if you're watching and you're actually like paying attention and you're just not like talking to everybody. So, because this is kind of like a gathering for us all in the morning. This is our morning gathering. And we come together in prayer, and we come together watching the news, and we chat with each other. If somebody needs some prayers, we always do that. So yep, there's the 17s lighting up. X is coming in too with the 17s. So gosh, guys, thank you so much. So if you're over on Rumble, hit that little repost button too. Get my show out there. We can always use some more butts in the seats. So if you're over on X, make sure you give me that little heart and you give me that little repost. About midway through the show, won't you repost it too? Let's get some more butts in the seats, because X, I don't know if you know that, but X has changed its way that it puts live feeds out there, and it's kind of restrictive. I mean, my own followers don't get notifications anymore that I've went live. So when you guys share the show out there on X, it very much helps us so very much. So we're also broadcasting on pilled.net. So my red pillars out there, hit that red pill and hit that repost for me. So I would very, very much appreciate that. All right, guys, YouTube's kind of catching on a little bit. I'm very happy with YouTube. We're trying to get to a certain plateau over there, so we can start making a difference over there. So if you're watching me on YouTube, share out the show to your friends. This is not all conspiracy stuff. Most of this stuff in my morning show is going to be me delivering the news to you about kind of what happened yesterday. Sometimes I get some breaking news. But usually I'll leave the breaking news stuff up to Real AF Patreon, keeping it real at noon. So yeah, check out that show if you're not checking it out as well. And we're also on Facebook. So I see a little bit of love over there on Facebook already. Sometimes Facebook's a little bit slow to get started. If you're watching me over on Facebook, put it in the chat. I need to see if my chat's working. So Facebook getting put into my chat. So if you could help me out there, I would very, very much appreciate that. So let me see here. Let me scroll up. Well, I'm going to tell you what, guys. I don't think my Facebook is working because I see comments, but they're not coming in on the screen. Hmm. I will work on that tomorrow. So give me just 1 second, though, guys. Because I want everybody to feel included. So we're going to go here. And let's see here. Give me just a second, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm trying, guys. And let's see here. I think hopefully this works. There it is, guys. We got it. So Facebook is, we are online on all five platforms. So you guys can, even if you're on the screen now watching, you guys can cross communicate on platforms now, to YouTube, to Facebook, to X, to Rumble, to pill.net. So that is absolutely incredible. So I'm so glad that I got that working. So let's go through our chat real quick. Let's see who we have in here. So we have over on X. Let's go through X this morning real quick. Kelly B's the first one checking over there on X. So, good morning, X family and friends. Preacher Seth. Howdy, my dear friends and lovers of Christ Jesus. Absolutely. Thank you, Seth, for checking in. Cynthia is checking in. Good morning from Texas. Man, Cynthia, you're up early. And Denley, good morning, good morning. And Yeet Force, part of our Truther Media mod team, checking in over there. Good morning, friends. And let's see who else we got in. Lana, good morning, good morning. And K9 Andrea with the repost of the stream. So good morning over there. Thank you. She is part of our Truther Media mod team as well. Cindy Rocks 260 checking in. Good morning, Josh and friends. Another day of winning. Absolutely another day of winning. And Jack, that is Purchase Jack over there on X. Good morning, Josh. Good morning. Good morning. So, Jack, we will pray for you because Jack says, I'm going to be honest, I'm failing to put on my armor of God recently. Let me tell you this, friend. We are all human. We all have shortcomings. We all have failures. But guess what? That's what we're all here for, is to lift each other up in prayer. So we will very much pray for you, Jack. I very much appreciate your support. And let's see here. Jenny checking in. Thank you so much for the 17 checking in over there. And so let's bounce over to our YouTube. Ugh. I'm going to tell you what, it's a morning. Monica Rodriguez over there on YouTube. Good morning. Happy Friday Eve, Patriots. So, yes, absolutely. And Wave Farm Studios, that is Yeet Force over there on YouTube, part of our mod team over on the YouTube side. And Mr. Texas Grass, good morning. Good morning. Let's see here. Let's see who we got checking in on Facebook. See Tracy checking in. Hi, Josh. And she said, that's okay. We're here for you. And let's see who else we got checking in over on Facebook. I have to kind of scroll up through this stuff. Lana checking in. So Lana and Tracy giving us a little bit of love over there on Facebook. So thank you so much. Pill.net, guys. We got to wake up. Listen, I know AJP was on last night. Thank you, Denise, over there checking in on Facebook and giving us a little love over there. I know that I was in AJP's chat last night before we were going to sleep last night because we still got the grands. And hey, Andrea, thank you for the love over there on Facebook as well. And I posted in the chat and I said, I want to see every one of you guys over in Dawning Justice tomorrow morning. I laughed because everybody, is always like, watching there, and they'll actually fall asleep to AJP at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when they just can't hang on any longer. It's not like that he's boring or anything. It's just that we can only hold on for so long if you're watching Dawning Justice in the mornings, and then you go to Keeping It Real, then you go to one of our nighttime shows, and then you go into AJP's show. It's like a extravaganza all day long. So let's check into our Rumble chat. So Tense15 was the very first one checking in this morning. Good morning, friends. Kanon Andrea also checking in. Nana2112 checking in. Kelly B910 checking in over there. Debbie V57, good morning. Yeet Force checking in. Let's see, Bibbies. So thank you so much for checking in this morning. And they say, good morning, all. I'm just going to be listening this morning. We'll be away from the keyboard. Gotcha, Bibs. We still got you. Let's see here. Who else we got checking in? D-Bar6, good morning. Good morning. I'm glad that you were able to make it in this morning. Alanita0711, American GG, Garth97 checking in. As I said earlier, Casey Coyle checking in. So thank you so much for that, guys. Onward Truth, good morning. And who else we got checking in over here? Gosh, guys, you all are just chatting away. Ivy Fly, good morning from Texas. So good morning. Dieter7757 says, hello. USAID paid checking in as well. So part of our Truther Media mod team over here. Coffee Gal 1776. And gosh, guys, Leanne999 checking in. DD Myron checking in this morning over there on Rumble. So I think I'm about caught up, guys. I think I'm caught up with the chat. So I'm about ready to get started, aren't you? All right. So I'm hoping that my new scenes work out with the chat and everything. I tested it. Hey, Wendy, good morning over there on X. And I think I can't pronounce that. Stralista. I think I got that right over there on X. So thank you for checking in over there as well. So real quick, I do want to talk to you guys about truthermedia.com. Okay. So if you're not familiar with truthermedia.com, it's where you can find all of our shows. You can find every one of our links that are in Truther Media. So if you're like, gosh, I can't remember where to find it. It's biblical. I can't remember what time it comes on, with Seth Larrabee. So real easy. Just go to truthermedia.com. The interactive guide is right there, and you can see right there. It's biblical on Saturday blocks. All you got to do is click on it. So make sure that you're checking that out. So also, we have our Truther Media shop over there. So at the very top of the page, you'll see a green shop button. So if you go there, you'll see all kinds of our shirts. We've got the Defend the Truth shirt. Whoops, guys, I am so sorry. There we go. Defend the Truth shirt. And we've also got the Women's Defend the Truth shirt that Tracy made. You've got some hats over there, and this one is that ponytail hat I've been talking about. This is our America's 250 shirt that we've got going on. This is our official Truther Media hat, and most of our hats got that America's 250 on the side of it. This one is a Save the Republic hat, and you've also got the America's 250 hat, and all these hats and all these shirts come in so many different colors, guys. Check them out. All right, guys. So I tell you what, we're all getting our coffee. We're all getting ready for the day. We're all fixing to dive into the news. We're all fixing to dive into our daily devotional. But let's take a quick coffee break. DawningCoffee.com also sponsors this show, and that's by Hunter's Blend Coffee. Very, very patriot coffee company. Mike and the gang over there are solid through and through patriots. So let's see what Mike has to say this morning.
Hey, have you heard this recipe for making cold coffee at home? Yeah, you have kids, make coffee, forget you made the coffee, and then drink it cold. I'm having another one. I ain't driving.
That is so hilarious. So Mike over there at the guys, they offer Hunter's Blend coffee. They have whole beans. They have ground up beans for you already. And I know everybody drinks the pods. Okay, nowadays the pods is the thing. All right. So they offer a sample pack over there. You know, you've got your Don's Early Light, you've got your Java Rum, your Black Powder, which is going to be the strongest. Okay, the original roast is like a medium blend. The Dawn's Early Light is a light breakfast blend, okay? But you've also got this Java rum over there. Tracy tried it out a couple of times. She kind of likes it, but see, Tracy uses coffee creamer and she loves hazelnut, so she likes the plain coffee. This is her favorite, the Dawn's Early Light, and you can buy these in multiple pack size. You can get your auto ship turned on, like if you're an avid coffee drinker, so you don't ever forget to order that. Okay, and right there you can see the original roast in the bags. And guys, I'm telling you, they have way more than coffee over there, so you might want to check them out. That shirt that Mike's always wearing, one of the softest shirts I have ever seen in my life. So make sure that you go check out those shirts. And guys, look, the Great Awakening coffee mug by Hunter's Blend Coffee. I mean, it don't get no better than that, guys. So, guys, if you want to quit giving Walmart and whoever that you buy coffee from, that's kind of medium par, you know, that it's just kind of like okay, but you're still paying like 17, 18, $19 a box for it in some locations. Check out Hunter's Blend Coffee at dawningcoffee.com. Quit giving your money to all these woke companies out there and give your money to buy your coffee from a patriot company that believes in the movement. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started into our daily devotional. So Digital Soldier says, "Good Thursday morning." And before we get started, let me talk about Digi just for a little bit. Digi has been extremely busy in his personal life right now. He is, he's doing some consulting right now for some people, and he's away from the keyboard a lot. So hopefully that doesn't become a permanent thing that he's away from the keyboard a lot. But he still tries to check in from time to time. So he's really, really busy. He really misses everybody. He wanted me to tell everybody hi, and that he will try to be back as soon as he can. So Digital Soldier comes in. Good Thursday morning. Friends, let me ask you something. What are you still waiting on God for? Because if you've walked with him for any length of time, you've learned that his timeline and your timeline are rarely the same. And that gap between them, that is where patience is either built or it's broken. Because his word says this: be patient in tribulation. And that's Romans 12:12. Read that again. Patient. Not after trial. Not after the answer arrives. In the middle of it. That is a hard word. God, don't I know that? Because patience is not passive. It is not giving up. It is not pretending you do not care. Patience is active trust. It is choosing to believe God is working even when you cannot see he is doing. Think about a seed. The moment it goes into the ground, everything looks the same. Just soil, just silence. But underneath the surface, life is forming. Roots are growing. Something is happening that cannot be rushed without being ruined. God often works the same way. He is not slow. He is thorough. And when he is building in the hidden places, is often more important than what you can see on the surface. So today, keep planting, keep trusting, keep showing up. Because what God grows in His timing is always worth the wait. Have a blessed Thursday, friends. And as you can see, be patient in tribulation. And that's Romans 12:12. And there's Pepe and Jesus planting a garden in the picture. So, guys, let me give you a personal story about this, and then we'll go to the movement on this too. Okay. So I'll talk about the movement first. So, hey, Rhea, thank you for checking in over there on Rumble. So let's talk about the movement real quick and how it relates to this message that Digi just gave us. What do we see all the time? Reading. I mean, you're seeing reading from people that's been in our movement that's supposed to be the general of things, and they're losing their minds right now, and their whole little crew. Hey, Craig, good morning over there on Rumble. And Carrie Girl, good morning for checking in. Freedom Fire over there, part of our Truther Media podcasters. Listen, hold on just 1 second, guys. Please pray for Freedom Fire. God knows, okay? She can tell everybody if she wants to, but she needs our prayers. And Tony, good morning. Welcome over there on X. So you got all these people losing their minds. They want to rest. They're screaming, arrest, arrest, arrest. Give me arrest. You're letting it all slip away, Trump. What are you doing? You want to know why they act like that? Because they forget it's God's timing. It's not my timing. It's not your timing. Heck, it's not even President Trump's timing. Even though Q says that the timing rests with POTUS, ultimately it's God's timing. And this is God's plan. So when you see everybody out there on X and Truth Social and wherever you're at, Facebook, it doesn't matter. And they're all like, oh, we're letting it all slip away. This is not what I voted for. You know, Seth Larrabee says all the time, I don't focus on that kind of stuff because I know God wins in the end. We've seen the end of the Bible. We have our playbook right in front of us. Hey, Burn Notice over there on Rumble. Thank you so much for checking in. So we see all this reading, and what did we just read? Be patient through tribulation. When you start honestly and truly trusting our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and God, you don't see what they're doing in the background. 80% private, 20% public. And that's why Trump says, trust your president. That's why we all say, trust your president. You don't see what's happening in the background. You don't see God and Jesus on their hands and knees planting the garden. Remember, the harvest is almost ready. So let me go to my personal life a little bit with Tracy and I on this. Perfect example. So we've been going in a court battle back and forth with, I'm just going to say it, with our ex, okay? Yeah, I'm very real with you guys. He was supposed to do something and he ain't been doing it. That was 3 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. 3 years ago. We've went to court over and over and over and over. Little victories here, some losses here. until the other day, it finally got sent to a conclusion. And Tracy would stress about it all the time, and it was her focal point. And, I just looked at her and said, when are you just going to give this to God? When are you going to quit worrying about all this stuff? You can't even control anything. We have truth on our side. It's fine. Don't worry about it. She finally did. But when she finally did, movement started happening. I noticed. So, guys, stay patient. And I know I'm talking about this a lot, okay, on our devotional. And I know you guys want to listen to the news and what's going on, but this is the meat and potatoes. This is our lives. This is our eternal soul we're talking about here, okay? So be patient with the Lord, because he's working in the background and in the scenes for your good. He doesn't want us to fail. He doesn't. So when are we going to start trusting him a little bit, guys? Because that's what anxiety and fear and worry is really at the root of it all. You have to trust God. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I worry just like everybody else does. I worry a lot less than I used to, but I still worry. I still worry about money. I still worry about paying the electric bill and the internet bill, and I still worry about work. But at the end of the day, all we got to do is drop to our hands and knees and say, God, you got this. I'll do what you need me to do, and I'll do what's required of me to do. But I know at the end, you're going to take care of it. Ye 4 says, through him we can't fail, only learn. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So again, be patient in tribulations. And that's Romans 12:12. All right, guys, you ready to hop into some news? We're going to start out with a little bit of conspiracy. We've all seen this over and over and over, but a lot of the people coming into the movement, they've never seen this. They weren't paying attention September 11th, 2016. And you're like, what happened September 11th, 2016? See if somebody knows in the chat. I'll hold off on going into this story. But if you know what happened on September 11th, 2016, put it in the chat. I want to see if everybody knows, because I even had to look up that date this morning. So something possibly significant happened on September 11th, 2016. I think Cindy Rocks has got it. So since she's already said that, let's go into the news here. So Real AF Patriot says, it's time for the world to open their eyes and see what happened that day, and that's September 11th, 2016. Your eyes were not playing tricks on you. Let's watch this. We're probably going to watch it a couple of times, okay? So let's watch this real quick. So that's Hillary getting into the van, this black van, okay? So let's watch it a couple more times. One more time. All right. So we watched that 2 or 3 times. That was Hillary getting into the van. Looks like she was being escorted by 2 Secret Service officers. Now, guys, listen, I kind of push back against the movie and all that. Hey, Glenn, thank you for checking in over there on YouTube. Um, I push back against the movie. Listen, guys, I know a lot of this, that some of this stuff is fake. I get it. Okay. I don't focus on it. Moves and counter moves. Okay. We're still going through the battle. We're still fighting wars. Okay. We're still engaging in battle. Okay. But you can't ignore that. If she was truly sick, like they say she was, there would probably be a lot more concern, a lot more of, oh, Hillary, are you okay? And, just general concern from people. Okay, let's just be real. And when somebody around us is sick and they're passing out, you don't act like just nothing's going on. You don't act like, oh, let's just get her into the van. Let's just throw her into the van. So we had it all long ago. Long ago. That was before Q even started posting. Okay? I believe, this is my opinion, that she was arrested that day. I believe that she was put under lock and key that day. I believe that the ankle monitor went on that day. Was she executed? I don't know. None of us can prove that. So I don't focus on it. But what I do focus on is that scene right there. Because that's real. Onward says, yeah, shorter look-alike. I'm opinion Hillary Rodham Clinton is back, though. She may just have had Ozempic, but she's still among us. I honestly believe that. I don't think she's been executed yet. I don't think any of these people have been executed yet. I think they're in reserve. They're being held in reserve. And you're like, well, Josh, she doesn't look the same. Okay. Well, she doesn't look the same. I get it. People age. People also wear masks too. I get that too. I mean, there is a CIA, statement to where they went into President Bush's Oval Office, and the CIA director goes in under false pretenses, wearing a mask, parading around as somebody else, gets into the Oval Office, and pulls off the mask. Yes, the masks do exist. I get it. But if you're wanting to really control the narrative, there's this little thing called free will that the Lord created us with. Yes, Freedom Fire said, praying for Wyatt. Absolutely. That's her grandson. Please pray for him. So there's this little thing called free will. So if I was the Q team and I was the military, I'd probably hold Hillary Clinton in reserve for somewhere. Let's not put her on camera. Let's not do this. Let's send her doubles out there. Let's send the fakes out there so we can actually get the message pushed that we want pushed. And then near the end, let's bring her back out. Because let's say she goes on camera and then she goes, help me, I've been arrested. I mean, that's going to blow the whole thing out of the water. So I just kind of use common sense a little bit. I don't believe real raw news. That thing has been debunked so many freaking times by anons. Even the creator of Real Raw News has went on record by saying that he just loves trolling MAGA. So if you guys are like listening to Real Raw News and putting that stuff out there, you're putting out a bunch of garbage. I hate to tell you that. And that's my opinion, okay? That's not anybody of Truth or Media's opinion. That's Josh's opinion. Real Raw News is a bunch of BS and baloney. So from watching that clip, Take it for what you will. I think Hillary Rodham Clinton is under lock and key. I think Bill Clinton is too. I think there's a bunch of people under lock and key. I don't discount that one bit. But the war still rages on. Q says the war is real. The news is fake. Okay? Moves and counter moves. Q even says most of the systems are under control, but not all. We still have to fight, guys. We can't just sit back in our chairs and enjoy the show. Enjoy the show meant enjoy the boomerang that's coming around. And we'll get into some of that here in just a minute. But let's move on, though. Let's move on to some election stuff, okay, guys? So, and we know reports Steve Hilton destroys California's broken election system. Leading candidate for California Governor Steve Hilton just ripped into the state's mail-in ballot process. It's insane. The election systems have created here is just another monument of their uselessness. Let's watch this quick clip.
It's insane. This election system that they've created here is just another monument to their uselessness, another version of high-speed rail. And just to really underline the point that you made about the corruption, I remember last elections we had here, I had a whistleblower that contacted me from a post office describing that they had different buckets they were supposed to put the ballots in after they come in after election day, and they were explicitly told that it didn't just have to be a postmark that was on or before election day that qualified. If the date was handwritten, that would be okay as well. And you just think, what? It's just unbelievable. And of course, that's why so many people don't believe the results. But it just undermines confidence. So I completely agree with you. There is a case out of Mississippi that I think might help with this, that before the Supreme Court. But the whole thing is insane. I mean, the fact that you're sending out mail ballots to every single person on a voting roll that is wildly inaccurate, even though it's being cleaned up because the Trump Justice Department, thankfully, is bringing lawsuits against California to clean up the voter rolls. There's still a long way to go there. The whole thing is a joke, just like pretty much everything else they try and do here.
Yeah, Steve.
So I believe that we're being shown right now on how ridiculous this stuff is. You know, what we've been seeing. Yeah, Mr. Texas Grass over there on YouTube says, no country in the world takes longer than 24 hours to count votes. Not one. I agree 100%. Thank you, 330 High Nose over there on Peeled for checking in. I very much appreciate that. We're being shown some. If you haven't been watching, and we're going to go through some of these clips too about the election and things going on over there. If you're not paying attention to this LA mayoral race with Spencer Pratt, and what's going on over there, they're trying to actively steal it from him. Let me explain to you how David Clements explained it to Tracy and I one day when we met with him about these election machines. Everybody's always like, oh, these things are connected to the internet. He said, Josh, it doesn't matter if they're connected to the internet or not. You know, that's just kind of like a talking point they want you to get distracted with. I said, okay, what do you mean, Dave? He said, okay, let's think of it like this. So you got all these mail-in ballots that come in, okay? They push mail-in ballots for a reason. It's not why you think. I said, okay, well, what is it? What is it, David? He said, that's to get the cruise control program started. Cruise control? What do you mean cruise control? He said, well, let's back up just a second. He said, do you remember before the election started in 2022, they started going around at the very last minute with all these USB drives, especially in Arizona, with these updates Yeah. He said it happened within 12 hours of the election. Do you remember that? Yep, sure do. They already knew how many mail-in ballots were coming in for them. But he said, here's the kicker, Josh. It's got to be believable. When you are like California, it's got to be believable. Hey, thank you, Florida Girl 1985, for checking in over there on Rumble. I appreciate that. And Gojo, thank you also for checking in over there on X. So one of our UK peeps over there. So thank you so much. A Dutch Rumbler checking in also on Rumble. So welcome in this morning. So he said, when you've got all these ballots coming in California, they already know how many they've made, roundabout number. So they crack down on a lot of this being connected to the internet. You don't have to be connected to the internet to throw this election with machines. And I said, explain. I said, all right, so you get your initial influx of ballots, and what do you see? I said, well, Democrats usually are run away with the mail-in ballots. And he said, exactly. But like I said, they've got to make it believable. So, and you actually get the in-day voting coming in, and then you see this gap narrowing as it goes and goes and goes, throughout the day. I said, yeah, I've seen that before. He said, think of it like this. Let's say you want to go 75 miles an hour on the interstate. Okay, what do? And you're going to be on a long trip for a while. So you turn on your cruise control. He said, exactly. These machines are pre-programmed to get a variation of numbers, and when these results start coming in, it's got to make it believable. So you'll start seeing more and more and more votes go towards the Republicans sometimes. And that gap narrows to 52-48, 53-47, but it's gradual. He said, Josh, that is physically and, by the law of numbers impossible. You should see when all these districts starts coming in, you've got a Republican heavy district, you will see spikes up and down, up and down. Well, you don't see that. You see this gradual line finally meeting down at the end. He said, so they don't even need the internet. They've got programs that manage all of this. Flip votes here, flip votes there. Actually, let's give some back to the Republicans here because we've got to make this look believable. That's why Trump says same-day voting in person. Because when you flood the system can't compensate fast enough. You break the system. That's why your vote is so important. We have to flood the zone on election day. Because if they haven't made enough ballots, their whole little program gets thrown off. That you actually have so many people that they didn't account for coming in to vote. So that's why your vote is so important. That's why all these races matter so much right now. You have got to go vote. Don't listen to these black pillars out there saying that your vote doesn't matter because we've got machines and we've got this. And guys, I get it. Yeah, Tense 15 says too big to rig. That's why President Trump keeps telling you make it too big to rig. MJ Truth Ultra. He knows what's coming. Listen closely. And MJ Truth says, I'm not going to read through all of that because we're actually going to watch the clip. But MJ Truth says, I'm telling you right now, They're building a massive RICO conspiracy case dating back to the 2016 election. I think it's probably more than that. Trump knows, but it is very noticeable that he is distancing himself from what is coming. That makes sense, guys, because if you look at post 34, it says that POTUS will not be making any kind of public comments on it when it starts happening. That is why Venezuela is in play. That's why we captured Maduro. That is why the DNI is focused on Fulton County, Georgia, and Maricopa County, Arizona. The building blocks are being put together for an airtight, massive boomerang. Let's watch President Trump.
There's a lot of problems inside.
Look, we had a rigged election. We can't have a rigged election.
No.
You know, we can be nice about it. We can be politically correct. Oh, I don't want to say. I used to say that a year and a half ago, the election was rigged and the cameras would literally turn off.
Yeah.
And the anchor would say, sir, you're not allowed to say that, you know. Now nobody ever turns off the camera because it's been proven to be rigged. Look at what happened in Georgia. Look at all the stuff that we found out. It was a rigged election. Biden lost in a landslide.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, to think that this could happen. Now, because of that, we have Russia, Ukraine. That would have never happened with me. Because of that, we had open border with 25 million, in many cases, criminal, not all.
And fentanyl deaths.
Everything.
Yeah.
He was a worse president. And we were laughed at all over the world as a country. We're not laughed at anymore. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
So
we have
how
the most
do we,
successful country anywhere.
So someone has to be punished, though, for that. So how do you do that?
Well, I
you
don't
don't
want
have to punish them all.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather not get into it, but
are you confident in something will happen?
I don't want to talk about it. But let's see what happens. The election was rigged. We know who rigged the election. We know it. We know everything now. You know, we have information that nobody thought was possible, but when you get to office, all of a sudden people start giving you things. You know, it was I'll tell you, 2024 was a great election. That was a lot. There's a lot of rigging going on there too. Because you know what? I wanted a landslide, but there were areas that were just rigged. I could see it.
So
rigged. In other words, rigged against me.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, he's telling you right there, guys. A Dutch Rumbler says, all theater, do something about it. You come in a little bit late into the show, but yeah, Mr. Texas Grass, we have it all on YouTube. We do. We have every single bit of it. Freedom Fire 1776 says RICO will go beyond 2016, or we would not be pulling indictments on Cuba from decades ago. They are going for everything. Absolutely. But what I was saying, you know, why our daily devotional ties into this. This is God's plan. This is God's timing. The seeds have been planted long ago. I get it, guys. We have to sit through this. You know, Q says the end will not be for everyone. It's not going to be for the Anons. It's not going to be really for the people that's watching this show right now, that's watching Dawning Justice. Because we already know all this stuff. So that's why we're sitting there going and patting our hands and doing this right here, because we know we have it all. We know it all already. We knew it years ago. So it's frustrating. But guess what? God woke you up for a reason. And that reason is to be the calm in the storm. That reason is to help others through this time that are just figuring out all this stuff. That's why God woke you up, because you could take it. Because you can have patience through tribulation. You see how it all ties together? It's all connected. God is in control. This man right here fights for you daily. Patience is a virtue. Patience is hard. But when you have patience, good things come to those who wait. MJ Truth Ultra also reports President Trump, vote by mail is always going to be 100% corrupt. Even in California, they mail out 38 million ballots. Some people get 3 to 5 ballots, and even though we have the majority, we have several Republicans who don't want voter ID. That is insane to me.
They called it vote by mail, and they found it was very corrupt. It's going to be corrupt, 100% corrupt. It has to be touches all over the place. You know, in California, they mail out 38 million ballots. And some people get 3, 4, 5 ballots. Republicans get oftentimes none. They have to call in, where's my ballot? Where's my ballot? Last minute.
Do you have a plan to get it through? I mean, you have the Republican majority in the Senate.
They don't. Well, we have a majority, but we have a few Republicans that, believe it or not, like Lisa Murkowski and Rand Paul, and
are against voter ID.
It's why don't you call them up and say why?
Yeah,
they're against it. Say, why would a Republican? Why would a Democrat? You have to understand the Democrats are like 86% in favor of it.
Yeah,
it's only the leadership because they want to cheat. The only reason you would not want it is cheating. But we have a few Republicans that are nobody can explain it. They're against it. And
do you think Mitch
McConnell's against it?
Yeah. Do you think he has personal animus towards you? And he's
probably, even though I was the best thing that ever happened to him. I did the judges.
Yeah.
Without me, he wouldn't have any judges. I guess he does. Yeah. Without me, he wouldn't have been elected. It was my endorsement that got him elected. He was losing by a lot. I endorsed him, and he won the election quite easily, along with everyone else. So you saw that the other night. I think it was 112 and 0.
The patience of Job. Absolutely. We must have the patience of Job through all this. Hey, Abby Blue Eyes, welcome into the chat this morning over there on Rumble. I'm actually going to be going through one of your stories here in a little bit. Guys, have the patience of Job. Because I'm telling you, we have it all. This has just got to play out for everybody. It's coming out. Drip, 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 flood. And, with it, it's all interesting timing. Because, our D&I director, Tulsi, is on her way out. On her way out, she's going to do some damage, folks. And then you've got Pilte coming in right behind her. He's a temp. Temps are dangerous. Remember, we went over that yesterday. Yeah, Abby, she says, what an amazing time to be alive. Absolutely. What an amazing time. Have faith, guys. Have faith. If you are a Christian and you are saved, this should not be a problem for a lot of people. Because this is in God's timing. We always forget that. These influencers, they want to get you all riled up. And, even people in our movement, that's been our movement forever, they're like, what is taking so long? By the book. It has to be proven in a court of law, whether that's military or civilian. We can't just march these people up to firing squads just because we want to. If we violate our own laws, then what good is the law? Even though that some of these laws are so corrupt, we got to fix it. President Trump was given a plan, I honestly believe, by God. And he is carrying out that plan. All right, so I am going to get off my soapbox and we're going to keep going. MJ Truth Ultra reports, President Trump says he thinks J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio presidential ticket would be unbeatable. beatable.
idea. And now I was interested when you talked about how you studied Marco Rubio and JD Vance as they interact. What is their interaction? And
it's good.
How do they
Well,
relate?
I study to see if they like each other. I just find it interesting. You know, it's life. It's big time stuff.
Do you do that with everyone in the cabinet?
I do it with everybody.
Do you?
Outside of the cabinet too. I study everything.
Yeah.
I'm a studier.
Why?
Because it's interesting. It's the human thing, the human equation. So I watch them together. They get along great. They have a good relationship. They're sort of similar in a lot of ways, but they're very talented. And I think the two of them running together as a team would be very unbeatable.
Q, is there a plan after Trump? Q responds, yes. Remember when I say always listen to our president, always listen to Donald J. Trump. He always foreshadows everything. Now, is Vance Rubio going to be the ticket after Donald Trump? I don't know. I do know this, that they do amazing things within our government and in their respective agencies and in the vice presidency. I mean, Marco Rubio, is probably one of the best known politicians and people in Washington right now, because social media and people have made these memes of him sitting on that couch. Guys, that's not by accident. It's not by accident. Go back and think about The Apprentice, the setup. Yeah, Abby Blue Eye says, I would vote for those two yesterday. You know, I know there's a lot of shade out there being thrown around by a lot of, I have to say this politically correct, by a lot of faith leaders that do these huge podcasts out there. I hate to tell you people, but there are false prophets out there. You know, one of the very last things Q warned us about was false prophets. I mean, that's in the political sphere, that's in the anon sphere, and I believe that's in the faith sphere too. These big, huge, mega prophets can be bought off too. They can. And I really question when these prophets come in and they say, I've had a vision. I've had a vision. I see JD Vance is an evil person. He's going to absolutely wreck this country. Watch out for JD Vance. Well, we've had LT on from And We Know several times. And LT used to be the commanding officer of JD Vance when they were in the Marines together. He's told me some stuff off camera that he hasn't said out in public. I'm telling you, JD Vance is a godly man. I mean, LT has told the story even back then. As a young Marine, he would bring all of his people that was under him to Bible study, to worship, even way back then. Do you honestly think in this last administration, from knowing what Trump knows, that he's going to put a vice president in the seat that he can't trust? I honestly believe a lot of this pushing people into the light stuff is over. We're coming into the last phase of this operation. Yeah, you're going to have some Joe Kents out there. I get it. You're going to have some traitors here and there. You're going to have that a little bit. But watch out when your faith leaders start pushing against the one president that rededicated this country to God, prays daily in the Oval Office, and puts God and Jesus Christ first. I trust President Trump over any so-called prophet, male or female, out there pushing against this administration. And I also look around about the circles they run around into. I'm not going to go into that. You need to use your eyes and ears, people. Things are changing in this movement. There's this little thing called free will that everybody has. Things change. People change. Money changes people. Trust what the discernment of your Holy Spirit gives you and what you're seeing right now. All right, let's move on. MJ Truth Ultra also says, Divine, what do you say to the people who claim that Bibi Netanyahu tricked you into going into Iran? Pay attention, folks. They're just the enemy. They're Democrats. I'm the one that started it because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If there wasn't me, there'd be no Israel. It started when I terminated Obama's nuclear deal. Many roads lead back to Obama. Think dirty bombs.
What do you say to people who claim that Bibi Netanyahu tricked you into going into Iran?
Well, they're just, the enemy. They're just, the Democrats,
Right.
DUM. These are Democrats. These are people that don't know what they're doing. They want men playing in women's sports, and they want open borders so the world can pour into our country, and they want transgender for everybody, surgery, and they want transgender mutilization of our children. No, these are just words. That's all they do. It's all they're good for is words. Like, I heard that the other day for the first time. I said, he tricked me. I mean, I'm the one that started it because, again, I don't want to bore anybody, but I started because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Now, that pertains to Israel because they probably would have been the first one to get hit. There would be no Israel. Tell you what, if there wasn't me, there would be no Israel right now. And it started off as when I terminated the horrible Barack Hussein Obama, the Iran nuclear deal that he penned. And that would have given Iran that was a road to a nuclear weapon, and I terminated it, which was lucky I did. And then I stopped it a second time with the B-2 bombers flying in and bombing the hell out of them. They would have had a nuclear weapon if I didn't do that attack, which, very few people would have done it. If I didn't do that attack, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon and they would have used it almost immediately.
So let's go back to 2016, President Trump's first term. He started visiting all these countries, okay? What was that called? The capitulation tour? Where President Trump was making the new alliances. Now, let's fast forward to whenever that President Trump takes over in his second term here. You see all these countries coming in and bending the knee, and they're coming to Washington this time. All these countries are coming into Washington. The one, I know a lot of what people say out there. I get it, okay? You had Israel coming in, Bibi coming in. I think that Bibi tries to push against Trump sometimes, but ultimately, you remember what President Trump said a couple of days ago? Bibi's going to do whatever I tell him to do. So, here's my honest opinion. This is Justice's opinion. This is Josh's opinion. I believe that we are controlling Israel at this moment right now. But like in all countries, there are factions within the country, just like our deep state. I get it. People say Israel's the head of the snake. Israel this, Israel that. I was one of them. But we got to dig deeper. Where does the nation state of Israel stem from? Who created it? Follow the money. It's key. Israel is not the end all and be all. They're just an arm. Just like Iran is just an arm of the deep state. Just like Ukraine is just an arm of the deep state. Just like Canada is an arm of the deep state. It all goes back to the crown, people. So what is Trump doing right now? He's taking out these deep state hubs right now as we speak. Is Israel under control 100%? I don't believe so. But I believe that we control the parts that we need to control right now. We're going to have things that happen. And I know that a lot of you right here have listened to me go on and on and on and on about Israel, but we just got to go a little bit deeper of really, really, really who controls that, who did control that. I honestly think right now that President Trump picks up the phone and he's like, what are you doing? This is not part of the plan. Getting back into the election. As long as they're counting ballots after Election Day in California, it only means one thing. Spencer Pratt and Steve Hilton are out of the runoffs for LA mayor and governor. I don't really believe that, though. In fact, Gavin Newsom confirmed it just 2 weeks ago. When asked about the possibility of ending up with 2 Republican candidates for governor and no Democrats, he said, "We will have to topple the state's government of California, and that is exactly what the Democrats are going to do." Let's watch this clip from our favorite person. Ugh.
We all have agencies. We can shape the future. There's still a lot. I've said this before, so I'll repeat it. I don't anticipate this need to be the case, but there is a break the glass scenario, and there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like if Democrats were locked out, and we're going to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen. I'll leave it at that.
Break the glass scenario. Good morning, Julie Donuts over there on Rumble. Thank you for checking in. A break the glass scenario. Did we make it too big to rig this time? Trump keeps saying in-person voting, same-day voting. There's a reason. We've already explained all of that earlier in the show. A break the glass scenario. I think they're trying to break the glass right now. I don't think it's going to work this time. I think people are tired of it. They're done with it. And they don't know what to do. They're panicking right now. That's why that they're trying to set the stage saying, oh, this is going to take weeks to count. Q told us why it takes weeks to count an election. Because they get places like RunBet that we've already done research on way back in the day to get these ballots printed every single day. And they keep printing more and more and more and more. Hey, look, guys, we got a new batch of ballots that just came in. Oh, yeah, we sent out 38 million mail-in ballots. Yeah, it's going to take a long time to count these ballots. Oh, as long as it's postmarked, too, by election time, yeah, we can accept it. Yep. Oh, yeah, you can even write the date on there, and we will accept that. I don't think it's going to work this time. Los Angeles mayor primary results 2026. This is as of, I believe it was last night. I checked this morning. There was not an update. This is from the official webpage tracking the election. You see right there, Karen Bass is already locked into the runoff vote. or the general election, I'm sorry, at 183,000 votes. Spencer Pratt is coming in at 157,116 at 29.9% of the vote. This is the race that's important, okay? We just got to get to the general. And I'll explain why we just got to get to the general with Spencer Pratt, okay? Rahman is coming in with 119,809 with 22.8% of the vote. That's why that we have got to continue to vote in person, because they have a very hard time adjusting for the in-person vote. They probably didn't make enough ballots for Rahman. They probably underestimated it yet again. So now they're scrambling. Now it's going to be weeks before. Look, guys, 62% in one city. One city not count is only 62% counted. In 2024, the whole state of Florida had their election results by 8:30 p.m. that night. This is the kind of stuff that you need to be telling your family and friends about and making these comparisons. Have you seen what's going on in LA? Yeah, but I don't understand it, because Florida, they're saying they need 2 weeks to get all these ballots counted just in Los Angeles. That's so weird, because the state of Florida had everything wrapped up between 8:30 and 9 o'clock on election night for a presidential election, with all kinds of other side elections for senators and representatives and city and council and blah, 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 blah. They had it all wrapped up that night by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So think to yourself, how is this possible? Is it all by design? And this is what I'm telling you to tell the others out there. Bring it up at work. Guys, do you see what's going on in Los Angeles? That's crazy. They've only got 62% of the vote in 2 days later. So weird, don't you think?
Tonight, with votes still being counted in the highly watched race for LA mayor, only one thing appears certain, that Mayor Karen Bass will advance to the November runoff. Her opponent still up in the air. Robert Kovacic is here tracking the very latest. Robert?
Kathy, this is the first time in 21 years a sitting LA mayor will not get a majority of the vote during the primary. Mayor Karen Bass has been forced into a runoff. Tonight, there's no decision. Votes still being tallied. Hundreds of thousands of more votes to be tallied. Now, when we left you last night, after the in-person voting had been counted, the difference between second and third place was 41,000 votes. So here are the most recent numbers. As it stands, Spencer Pratt now leading Nithya Rahman by 37,300 votes. The LA City Council member narrowing the gap slightly on the former television reality star by a couple thousand votes, with the mail-in ballots now being processed. None of these three held events today, but NBC4 was at all of their campaigns last night. Let's start with Mayor Karen Bass. She held her watch party in Koreatown on election night. On stage, she gave a shout out to LA City Council members in attendance, including Monica Rodriguez and Council President Marquise Harris Dawson. Meantime, over in West LA, Spencer Pratt joined at a restaurant in Sawtell by Adam Carolla, Billy Bush, and Brody Jenner, among others, for a private event. But we have also confirmed LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman was there too. His office confirming the DA did stop by, but tells NBC4 it's not an endorsement. Nithya Rahman holding her watch party in downtown Los Angeles last night. And there, the council member, whose district stretches from Silver Lake to Sherman Oaks, gathered with family, friends, and local activists. Again, all three of these top contenders making no formal public appearances today, but this is what they told their supporters last night.
You know who I am. I have devoted my entire life to serving the city that I love, where I was born, and I'm going to continue to do that all the way to victory in November.
Thank you for everybody who, fights for me in the comment sections, the DMs, people all over the United States that used to live in LA that had to leave here because it became not safe, too expensive, and just dangerous.
At a time when so many people have written Los Angeles off or have lost hope in the future of this incredible city, you are proof that Angelenos are hungry for change.
We want to give you another look here at the most recent returns, and this is what you need to keep in mind moving forward. We have 62% of the vote in. However, an estimated 322,000 votes are still left to be counted. So when will we know more? The Los Angeles County Registrar is scheduled to update the results between 4 and 5 in the afternoon daily until June 12th. I'm Robert Kavasik. Kathy, we've still got a long way to go.
We do. Thank you, Robert.
June 12th for one city. Granted, it is a large city, but one city. It's going to take 2.5 weeks to count one city. And you think to yourself, and you can drop this little seed too. In today's election results and this counting and everything like that, and automation and electronic reporting and blah, 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 blah. Don't you think this thing could get probably done, counted a lot quicker than it is? It's kind of weird. Eric Daugherty reports President Trump to Caitlin Collins. CNN has a corrupt reporter sitting right there. She never smiles. A young, beautiful woman never smiles. I never see a smile on her face. I see her standing there with hatred in her eyes. She has hatred because we have borders. We have strong military. We cut our taxes. Then we win with a landslide. CNN is crooked as hell.
And we'll believe it because they knew what was going on. They're crooked as hell. CNN's a very corrupt organization, but with a corrupt reporter standing right there. Never smiles. She never smiles. She's a young, beautiful woman, never smiles. I never see a smile off her face. I see her standing there with hatred in her eyes. Like she has hatred because we have borders, because we have a strong military, because we cut our taxes, because we do things that everybody wanted. And then we win our election in a massive landslide. We win 87% of the counties in this country. Nobody's ever heard of a thing like that. And that's because we're doing the right job. And we took a detour down to Iran because we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon under any circumstances. We can't let that happen. So the reporters should be happy. They shouldn't be unhappy. They should be very happy. Because you know what we're doing? We're saving our country.
Yes, Mr. President, two questions. One on.
We are saving our country. Why should that upset people? Why should it upset our reporters that we're going back to following the Constitution? Craig Muttley says over on Rumble, a point to ponder. Have you ever seen a happy communist? Good point, Craig. Very, very good point. Mr. Texas Grass over there on YouTube says, can count 300,000 election night, but it takes 2 weeks to count 300,000 more. Those are the kind of things that you need to be telling people. Yeah, a Dutch Rumbler says, all puckered and sour-faced. It's because they know they've lost. They know they're losing. They can't operate in the darkness anymore. They can't operate through lies anymore because the people see through it. They're being forced to fight a battle they know that is lost. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like that. Let's say you're in Ukraine and they're now drafting, women out there and, young kids now out there to go. And when I say young kids, I mean like adult kids, like I'm talking like 18 years old. They could be younger. I don't know. I'm not in Ukraine. But so you get drafted, you know you're losing, you know you're gonna lose, but they say, go get your stuff on, go get your backpack on, go get that uniform on, go grab your gun and go fight, fight, fight. And you're like, are we living in alternate realities right now? Do you not see what's going on out there right now? I'd be pretty angry too if I had to go out and fight that fight. Because now you know why? Do you know why all this is happening right here? Every single bit of it. Why everybody is so pissed off now. That's on the left and the rhinos and the deep state and all that. You know why they're so mad? They never thought she would lose. Now they all lose. Q plus. All right, guys, I do not have my hottie alert button yet. Okay, I apologize. I will work on it when I don't have grandkids running around everywhere. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. America's warriors are the greatest asset we have. That's why we are establishing Project Patriot Pipeline. This initiative creates new strategic partnerships focused on the skills and trades and bringing America's best to our defense industrial base.
The greatest military advantage the United States has is our warfighters. Highly skilled, highly trained, and adaptable. President Trump and this War Department recognize
Hey, Dixie
the
Bell, thanks for
strategic
checking
alignment
in.
between military training while in service and then developing a career path when you become a civilian. And there are key priorities for this department and the nation that require a workforce with the advanced skills that our service men and women possess while in uniform. Keeping and developing talent that contributes to our priorities like shipbuilding or the Golden Dome or next generation aircraft or munitions, it's vital to our nation's and our military's continued success. Now, we recognize that there's a gap. The need for a unifying framework that connects service members, military spouses, and federal civilians with the American defense industrial base. One of the priorities of our national defense strategy, we have to have the best defense industrial base in the world. And that is why this War Department has directed, and our Undersecretary of War for Personnel and Readiness has developed a plan. It's called Project Patriot Pipeline. And that plan connects service members, military spouses, federal civilians, and young people to mission-critical jobs and career development opportunities in the defense industrial base. Great jobs, great pay. The plan establishes new strategic partnerships focused on the skilled trades and strengthens the training and education for critical skills that are already a part of our defense workforce to ensure they remain aligned to our national security needs. Project Patriot Pipeline will strengthen our national security by shaping a highly skilled workforce and preparing our nation to meet the challenges ahead. Think of our best troops translating their service into the private sector in the defense industrial base. That's Project Patriot Pipeline. The War Department and the military departments will synchronize vital workforce development programs like tuition and credentialing assistance and SkillBridge, as well as enhanced spouse employment programs, enabling our warriors, spouses, and civilians to focus on and acquire in-demand skills tied to real-world needs. Right now, visit mypatriotcareer.mil to learn more. More patriots, more firepower, more opportunities to continue to serve. Project Patriot Pipeline is a strategic investment in our greatest asset, the American workforce.
Ladies, did you hear a word he said? I've got to get my hottie alert button. I know. Listen, there's one thing I've learned, in this movement. Usually it used to be the guys would be like oogling over the girls. Not anymore. No. He 10-15 says, was he talking? Our Patriot ladies love these Patriot men. I'm telling you that. So thank you, Pete, for that. I very much appreciate that. Captain Takal comes in and says, now we can fire the swamp. Breaking. President Trump signs a major DOGE executive order helping fire deep state rogue federal workers in policymaking roles and holding them accountable for undermining the America First agenda. Let's keep doging.
Reforms to the federal workforce, sir. Currently, with respect to many policymaking positions in the departments and agencies across government, we lack the ability, because of existing personnel rules, to effectively discipline or promote people who are in policymaking roles. This executive order follows on a number of previous executive orders. The end goal is making the federal workforce more accountable and ensuring that people, particularly in policymaking roles, aren't unaccountable to the wishes of the administration.
And the reason for this was what? Whose idea was that?
James Shirk, who's here from Domestic Policy Council.
Would you like to say something? Come on, you did a great job of this.
Thank you, sir. It's been a long-standing problem that it's almost impossible to fire a federal employee, even in cases of serious misconduct. And as a result, if you have employees who are trying to undermine the wishes of the American people by pushing their own agenda or just incompetent at what they're doing, agencies have a long-standing difficult time getting rid of them. And that's a particular problem if you're in a senior policy influencing role where you're controlling the policies of the entire agency. What this does is basically treats those employees like private sector workers. They're going to be hired on the basis of merit and competence, but if they're messing up, then they can be removed quickly rather than taking a year longer to get rid of them.
You guys are still talking about Pete Hegseth. Hey, Make It Make Sense. Thank you for checking in over there on YouTube. I very much appreciate that. Sarah O has also checked in over there on X as well, and Pamela K has checked in as well. Janie has checked in over there on X as well. So thank you guys so very much for that. All right, guys. So let's go to talking about PSYOPs now. Let's get back serious a little bit. So we all know that PSYOPs are being ran. I have talked about it over and over and over about all these influencers. Well, guess what? It's now finally coming out in the news. Anna Paulina Luna says today, Secretary Rubio confirmed what we've all suspected. Foreign governments are actively using disinformation campaigns and influencer PSYOPs to undermine our foreign policy and rip our country apart.
Representative Luna.
Secretary Rubio, thank you for being here today. I was wondering if you could let me know if you are familiar with the name of Neville Roysingham.
Yeah, he's I think an American millionaire living in China who's funding all of these left-wing radical loons.
Correct. When you were on Senate Intelligence, you had actually sent a letter encouraging the Department of Justice to look into him for a FARA violation. For those people who will see this clip later on the internet, can you just briefly explain what FARA is?
It's the Foreign Agent Registration Act, and it means if you're operating on behalf of a foreign country, you have to register and declare yourself as such.
To provide some context for those looking at this, Mr. Singham's in total given $1.3 million to an organization called Code Pink, as well as over $278 million to various nonprofits since 2017. Secretary Rubio, it's in my opinion, observing what's been happening on both sides, really contributing to the political divide in this country, that many countries are engaging in influencer operations to include psychological operations on the American people with the intent to undermine not just our foreign policy from the administration's perspective, but also to pit us against one another. Would you concur with that statement?
There's no doubt, absolutely.
Are you aware of any countries in particular that are currently engaging in this?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that we see evidence of it from the CCP. We've historically seen some of it as well from Russia historically in the past in a different way. I think you're starting to see some of it from Cuba, and I think some of these are linked with one another. In fact, that group that you just mentioned actually traveled to Cuba, stayed at a very fancy and expensive hotel that is sanctioned, and I think are now being looked at by the appropriate officials to see if they violated U.S. law in the trips that they're taking. But there's no doubt that when you have people showing up with pre-printed signs 24 hours after Nicolas Maduro was arrested and extradited to the United States, that's not an organic movement. Someone's paying for that.
All right, guys, I've got a prime example here of this. Just happened yesterday. So, guys, if you don't know, on X, I can write community notes. Okay. And I don't know if you guys know the process in that, but somebody writes a community note and then we all have to upvote it basically and look at it and make sure that, it's legit and the sources are correct. I didn't write this one, but I can see on posts that have pending community notes. Okay, that hasn't been put out to the public yet, but something that needs more ratings on it. Okay, so I got a text message actually from my buddy, and his name's Robbie, and he's been a childhood friend for a long time. He said, "Josh, did you see where President Trump had a stroke?" What? I was like, where are you seeing that at? It's on X. Okay, can you link me? He said, it's by the patriotic blonde. And I was like, but listen, people, my point is, and I'm going to show you the screenshot here in just a second. My point is, some of these people that are not rooted in Q, that are just coming into the movement, they're just now starting to pay attention, they're hungry for information. You've got accounts like this patriotic blonde that's been proven that she accepts foreign money to push propaganda, that they believe this stuff. Yeah, a Dutch Rumbler said, "Oh, if it's on X, so it's true." I can't with these people. I get it, but you got to remember our friends and family sometimes aren't rooted in Q. They don't have the playbook, so they're still trying to figure everything out. So you got to be patient with them, and you got to direct them to things. And that's why you've got to red pill with facts and not, oh, guys, everything's a 2.0, 3.0, blah, 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 blah. Okay? You got to stay in planet Earth. So let me show you this. And this is a screenshot. Okay? You can see where that pending community note is. The patriotic blonde says rumors are circulating in D.C. that Trump suffered a stroke at some point over the past week, and his administration is trying to cover it up. Very, very vague, okay? So this pending community note, and I haven't checked it this morning to see if it went public yet. POTUS has had full public schedule for the past 8 days, including 4 press briefing, pool calls, executive order signings, 2 rounds of golf, and 2 public media interviews, plus cabinet meetings with the Oval Office. A myriad of interactions with the public in multiple states in the past 8 days. And this witch comes in here and says rumors are circulating in D.C. that Trump suffered a stroke and at some point over the last week, and his administration is trying to cover it up. Does it look like that man just had a stroke? He's been on camera multiple times. These psyops are real, people, that these people are running out there. Foreign influence campaigns. And I'm going to laugh my ass off when the full weight of our law comes down, that these influencer accounts are not disclosing that they're foreign agents of other governments. I mean, you laugh. Some of you watching this, you're probably laughing at this right now, going, "Oh my God, Josh, this is just conspiracy." I just showed you. We just heard Marco Rubio talking about active psyops being run in our country by these influencer class. This is just me. I don't trust any of these influencers out there that's not rooted in Q. And even then, some of them can be way out there. Be careful what you read. Red pill with facts. Push against the narrative. QPost 4509, the mission. That's why it's so very, very important that we stay on mission. All right, Abby. Another meteor spotted. But hey, it's probably nothing.
Back here in the U.S., days after a meteor exploded in a sonic boom heard over New England, another fireball has been spotted, visible this time from the Midwest to the Northeast. Is that a normal amount of activity? Here's CBS meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Another meteor lit up the sky last night, this time in southern Michigan just before midnight, with doorbell cameras capturing the fireball as it burned through the Earth's atmosphere. It was 40 times brighter than the planet Venus, according to NASA. And this comes after another meteor triggered a sonic boom heard across New England over the weekend, barreling through the atmosphere at 100 times the speed of sound. That one was about 5 feet wide and weighed more than 5 metric tons before exploding with a force of roughly 230 tons of TNT. Last week, this meteor was seen streaking through the Buffalo, New York area. But despite the rash of meteor sightings lately, Professor Loeb says we have no reason to worry.
Those meteors are about 30 feet wide and typically hit in unpopulated areas. The bigger ones are larger than a football field. We can see those well in advance. So experts say enjoy the shooting stars when we're lucky enough to see them. Tony?
All right, will do, Rob. Thank you very much.
Something going on. You know, was it a military plane coming down? I don't know. But where's all the reporting when these things actually hit the ground? Why aren't they telling us what they're finding? That's odd. You would think that these huge media companies would have somebody reporting on the ground of actually what's going on and what's falling out of our sky. Tony said, why was that thing curving upward? Meteors don't course correct. No, they don't. I mean, I know drones do. I mean, we know drones can be very big. Wow. President Trump just announced he will be exposing the Biden DOJ in the coming weeks for raiding Mar-a-Lago based on a total fake info.
Can you explain why you decided to drop the anti-weaponization fund?
So I love it. I think it's so important. People were, this is a victim right here, but not only a victim, he was also a student of it. What happened to great people, great American people, the way they were victimized, the way they were savaged. You have suicides. They killed themselves. They went bankrupt. They were weaponized by the Biden administration, by a bunch of thugs, including Obama people, and like nobody's probably ever been. I mean, I can think of maybe 2 instances in this country where they've had it to somewhere that extent. I'm not even sure if it was so much. They were put in jail for long periods of time. They were accused of things that never happened. They had prosecutors that were radical lunatics, and their lives were destroyed. And frankly, we had a lawsuit that against us on the weaponization, where the judge, a radical left judge, ruled against it. And we'll see how that all works out. But a radical left judge ruled against it. But these people, their lives have been destroyed. Their families have been destroyed, many of them. I'm not just talking about a few people, many of them. I'm one of them. They raided my house, Mar-a-Lago. That never happened. Nobody ever thought of a thing like that. It turned out that it was a total fake. Everything about it was fake and corrupt. We have all the information. You know, the good advantage to sitting here is we can get information that you wouldn't get by what we have and what we are going to be showing over the coming weeks and months, you're not even going to believe. Some of you will believe it, like CNN will believe it because they knew what was going on. They're crooked as hell. CNN's a very corrupt organization, but with a corrupt reporter standing right there. Never.
He's telling you what's going to happen. Did you hear what he said? From us sitting right here, we can get more information than anybody else. We have it all. What's going to be released in the coming weeks, in the coming months, is going to be unbelievable. It's going to be a hot summer, folks. You better buckle up. With an outgoing DNI and a temporary DNI that's probably not going to be replaced with a permanent solution anytime soon. You better buckle up, people. I'm telling you, it's coming. Yeah, 1015 says, I can't wait. That's why that we've got to get all of our facts together. We've got to get all of our stories together and be able to tell the story about what happened and point to our family and friends about what's going on. He said, CNN knows what's going on. They're corrupt as hell. I guarantee you, Q even told us that some of these reporters and whatnot are going to be jailed as deep cover agents. And they know this. They know the jig is up. Man, guys, I gotta start rolling through some of this stuff. Catherine Heritage says, dig deeper. After a clash between Secretary Scott Bessent and Senator Ron Wyden, I ran Adam Wyden through the DOJ Epstein portal. 29 hits, including this on April 2016 thank you email via Epstein's assistant.
Senator Wyden has mendaciously slandered the Treasury building in an attempt to cover up his son having an investment meeting with Jeffrey Epstein to ask for funding. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Let's be clear here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
Should I just proceed? I'm going to proceed.
The guy says, we don't care about this. And then he comes back and hits him again with it. You know, our administration doesn't flinch anymore. They don't back down. They don't apologize anymore. Why? Because we have it all. We have every single bit of information on all of these people. And it's all just slowly dripping out to the public. And they're getting torched on Capitol Hill. Yeah, RPR 17 says, let them have it. Maureen Brand 9524, thank you for checking in over there on YouTube, says Bessent is a freaking rock star. They're all rock stars in my opinion, but yes, you are correct. Jesse Waters, breaking. Congress just voted to end the Iran war. 4 Republicans betrayed the party. Before I play this clip, though, I need to give you all a little bit of information. This is mostly just theater. They really can't tell President Trump to not engage because he is the commander-in-chief, not Capitol Hill. This is not an official war. If you listen to President Trump and how he talks, this is an engagement. This is an operation. There has been no official war declared. And if you also listen to President Trump in the cabinet, they'll also tell you that this was a defensive strike. Wording matters in this whole operation, but let's watch this quick clip on Jesse Waters in the War Powers.
Fox News alert, the House just passed a War Powers resolution to end the war in Iran. The final vote, 215-208, with 4 Republicans breaking rank, including Thomas Massie, who just lost his re-election bid. The vote would mean the president would have to seek out congressional approval for any future military action. The bill now is going to be voted on in the Senate, so we'll see what happens there. Even if it does pass out of the Senate, Trump will just veto it, so it's more symbolic. In other news, someone might have to clean up his cave because someone's coming over for dinner.
The people we're dealing with, we know they're the people that are leading the country right now.
Is it the gay Ayatollah?
He's involved, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I think they have a lot of respect for him.
Would you like to meet him or meet any of the Iranians in person?
I've never thought of it, actually. It's a very good question. I'll think of it. Yeah, I'd like to meet him. I'd like to meet everybody. I'd like to meet him. We probably will meet at some point, depending on how it all works out.
I doubt the president would have a summit underground, but Trump will sign a treaty anywhere. That's if things go well. If they don't, here come the B-52s.
I have to make a determination. Do we sign a deal or we do it the other way? And the other way is not nice.
What will the other way achieve, though?
Certainty. It would be over. There wouldn't be any. There wouldn't be any talking. There wouldn't be any delays. There wouldn't be. But I'd rather do it the nice way, from a humanitarian standpoint.
POTUS says it takes 2 to tango for a deal. If not, well, Lockheed Martin's been doing a little testing over in Arizona. For the first time ever, they intercepted an Iranian-style drone using a Grizzly launcher. It's cheap, effective, and Lockheed's put all of this together during the ceasefire. So don't get on Trump's bad side. Netanyahu did this week. It didn't go well.
You said, are you effing crazy? What are you effing doing? I helped you stay out of jail. Is that true? Did you speak to him in those terms?
I did. I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed at his constantly fighting with Lebanon. You know, at some point I said, Bibi, we got to stop this. We got to stop it.
Israel's been freelancing in Lebanon, and Trump doesn't want to have that scuttle the deal. Netanyahu, he responded.
President confirmed that he said you're effing crazy. How did you react to that? What really happened in that call?
Well, sometimes we have, as in the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements. We always find a way to work them out, and we do so as great friends. We can disagree in the morning, and by the afternoon we have common action.
Lebanon does have a big problem, a Hezbollah problem.
Hezbollah is not just a challenge to Israel, it's a challenge to Lebanon, to the Lebanese state and the Lebanese people. And we are hopeful that we can create a paradigm in which Lebanon's government and Israel can work together to disarm Hezbollah and allow the people of Lebanon to reclaim its country. But it's complex. This has been going on since OJ had isotoners.
Speaking of Hezbollah, turns out they have phones.
We actually spoke with Hezbollah for the first time ever. We didn't know they spoke.
The president says Hezbollah and Israel both agreed they're not going to shoot at each other anymore, for now. So we'll see. If the Iranians get cute with their drones, we're going to hit them back. Yesterday, we hit one of their islands right in the mouth of the strait.
How do you define ceasefire?
Pretty much the way it is. It's a different part of the world. You know, I'd say in that part of the world, ceasefire is when you're shooting in a more moderate manner.
The only big bombs Trump wants to see are Iran's, and he's ready to dig up the dust.
That stuff is buried underneath a mountain that virtually collapses. Very, very hard to get it. But nevertheless, I want to get it. We're the only ones, us and probably China are the only two countries that have the equipment where you can do that.
The president still has something else on his mind, too.
You were talking about regime change. Why is nobody talking about that now?
Why do you say we're not talking about it? I said the other day.
Because President Trump seems ready to make a deal with this current regime.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that he wants this regime to stay.
The one-legged gay Ayatollah is being led around on a leash by the Republican Guard. He's a figurehead without any lips. Trump's working on a grand bargain to open up the strait, denuke the mullahs, and sew up the Abraham Accords. What are the Democrats doing? They're talking about Marco's feet.
Just like you won't admit President Trump is losing this reckless war of choice, and just like you couldn't admit that the shoes the president bought you were too big, you clearly don't know what winning means.
Yeah, I don't know about the shoes. I mean, he gave me some Florsheim shoes. They're actually pretty good. They fit fine. I don't know what she's talking about.
Your shoes look very nice today, Mr. Secretary.
Well, how can you see them? They're way down here. We're talking about shoes. Are you guys kidding me? I mean, is this the Foreign Affairs Committee or is this like a circus? What is this?
We'll have more on feet later in the show. You know what else Democrats can't stop thinking about? Trump in the bedroom.
Donald Trump is sleeping right next to you.
No, he's not.
If Donald Trump cannot stay awake at these important meetings where the cameras are rolling, imagine what he's like when the cameras are not there.
We had a cognitively impaired president in office a few years ago. That's a cognitively impaired president, but I don't like to talk about that because it weakens America. This president we have, this is a guy that literally doesn't sleep. Okay, I've been on foreign trips with the president that he doesn't sleep in the whole flight. And everyone else is sleeping on the plane, and he's, wandering the hallways looking for someone to wake up and talk to.
Wow. So like I said, this vote that went down, it's mostly just theater for show. I mean, they don't have a veto proof in either House or Senate. So President Trump has to sign everything. Do you honestly think that they're going to bring him a bill and say, Mr. President, we need you to sign this, and we are limiting all your powers with your signature? He'll say, go get wrecked. Veto. So, when the talking heads out there saying he's violating what we all voted for, we got to do it by the book. And the book says President Trump can veto. He'd be like, get that shit out of here. Are you kidding me right now? And talking about Marco Rubio's shoes? Are we living in bizarro world right now, people? Like, for real. I just don't know anymore. The Patriot Oasis, Secretary Scott Bessent had Elizabeth Warren in meltdown mode as he calmly dismantled her claims about President Trump's stock trades. And let's just watch what he says.
Secretary Bessent, you and I agree that it is a conflict of interest for members of Congress to trade stocks. Do you also agree that it's a conflict of interest for President Trump to trade stocks?
Well, a couple of things, Senator. One, President Trump is not sitting in the Oval Office engaging in a high-frequency trading strategy. Clearly, clearly he had an outside manager who was doing that, and I think it's incumbent upon both houses of Congress to get their house in order before you move to the administrative branch.
You think it's okay for the president to do this? Because let's be clear, you are a Wall Street guy, so you know better. The investments that President Trump has made are not blind. President Trump literally signed the 113-page document publicly listing all of his individual stock trades at the same time that he is making decisions affecting those stocks. So you're going to sit here with straight face and say it's not a conflict of interest for the President of the United States to do that?
I'm going to say this body needs to get its house in order first.
How about we get the White House in order at the same time?
I would encourage you to do that.
I don't trade in individual stocks. I don't own any individual stocks. My house is in order.
Senator, you're very
Mr.
rich.
Secretary.
Others on this committee can't say that, Senator.
Let's look at some individual trades. On January 6th, Donald Trump purchased up to $1 million worth of NVIDIA stock. 1 week later, his administration changed U.S. policy and loosened the rules on export controls so that NVIDIA could sell its chips to China. Now the price of NVIDIA stock is through the roof. So, Secretary Bessent, you said last year, if any private citizen traded the way members of Congress do, quote, the SEC would be knocking on their door. So my question is, should the SEC be knocking on President Trump's door to start an investigation over this trade?
Again, if this body wants to ban individual stock trading, which I would advocate for yourselves, start there. And if you want legislative action to continue, that's your prerogative.
So it's our prerogative. So you would support our saying that President Trump should be investigated over this?
I would support
our
would
trade
support,
should be investigated, and President Trump should be investigated.
I would support you getting your house in order, Senator.
And how about the White House getting its house in order?
Again,
would you support that investigation?
Please lead by example.
I would like to see the President of the United States lead by example. You say there should be an investigation when that kind of activity takes place. How about we start with the White House?
Well, you create
one
statute.
More.
The President
Trump bought.
They make the laws. I'm telling you, Warren's in meltdown mode. Panic. All right, so we got one last clip because we're going on 2 hours now. So let's go ahead and go to this last slide. Secretary Brooke Rollins, the MAHA movement doesn't stop with what we eat. It's also about what we wear. For decades, America offshored textile jobs and allowed foreign synthetic plastic-based materials to take over the clothing market. Together with Secretary Kennedy, the Great American Cotton Plan puts America's grown cotton first again, supporting our farmers, strengthening U.S. manufacturing, and giving families a natural choice.
I know I've been on your show quite a bit talking about MAHA and eating real food and getting real food back into school lunches. But I think this is the next step in the MAHA movement with Secretary Kennedy is what we're wearing, what we're putting on our skin. And of course, ultimately, this goes back to the great American farmer, the great American cotton farmer, and making cotton great again in our country.
I love it.
Make cotton great again. I think that needs to be on a hat. You know, I'm not like a full-blown MAHA person, but I'm pretty sure that all these petroleum-based products that we wear a lot, like all the stretchy stuff, and MAGA over there on X says hemp is better. Yeah, hemp clothing is good. It's good for you. But all these petroleum-based products that we wear, like these Crocs, and Maureen says, I'll buy that hat over on YouTube. They can't be good for us. I mean, just think. I mean, why did we go away from cotton? It's a renewable resource by their standards, okay? Because I think that oil is a renewable resource, if you're just asking me. But by their standards, cotton is a renewable resource. It's cheap, it's effective, it keeps us warm, and it doesn't wear down. You know, it withstands over time. So why do all these companies want to push a product that's made with petroleum that's a limited resource? So you just got to think, it's probably not good for us because they probably push all this garbage on us to get it absorbing into our skin and, you know, things like that. So in saying that, justiceshrooms.com and justicepetclub.com, visit them, get your body back in balance and get your pet's body back in balance as well. They feed the food that we have to feed our pets is actually awful. It's worse than the food that we eat. So try to combat that. try to combat what we're eating. JusticeRooms.com and JusticePetClub.com. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I have got to roll. I've got to go down to Gulfport today for my job. And if you guys don't know, I live in Hattiesburg, so I've got a little bit of a drive. I've got to go take care of some business down there. So thank you, everybody, for watching me every morning and staying in the chat and being active and vocal. I love reading your guys' comments off. You don't have to give me a Rumble rant for me to read your guys' stuff off. That's not how we operate. I do love the Rumble rants. It keeps the lights on. We very much appreciate that. If you want to donate and keep the lights on for us, go to tracingjustice.com and click how to give. That's the best way, because Rumble takes like almost 50% of whatever you give us. So we appreciate that. Thank you. I did receive a donation of $100 yesterday through our Give, Send, Go. So I very much appreciate that. And thank you for all of my mod team out there. Thank you guys so much for keeping the chats going, keeping it nice and orderly, keeping all these BS out of the comments so everybody can have a good time. All right, so I'm going to be rating you over to Keeping It Real. You know the drill, guys. Give him a thumbs up. Come back at noon Eastern for the most recent up-to-date news. And Steve always has a really good time on his show. So we're really proud of Steve over here at Truther Media. And remember, if you don't know the schedule, just go to truthermedia.com. It's all right there. You can go straight to our Rumbles. You can go straight to our YouTubes. You can go straight to our X's. You can even go to our individual Substacks that we have, because just about all of us write on Substack, if you didn't know that. So check us out, and check us out the Truther Media Substack as well, too. I think my grandkids are trying to bust in. So we're going to end it there in prayer. So, Lord, I come to you in Jesus' name, Lord. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, thank you for giving us another day on beautiful earth that you created for us, Lord. Thank you for giving us everything that we have in our lives today, our cars that we drive, the money we have in our pockets, the internet that we use every day, Lord. And thank you for giving us the Bible. The one piece of truth, of absolute, unadulterated truth that we have is our Bible, Lord. And thank you so much for that. Thank you for also sending your Son to die on the cross for all of our sins, Lord. Lord, we ask you for strength today, Lord. We ask you for patience, Lord. I know that's a hard thing to ask for, Lord, but please mold us in patience, Lord. Please help us remember that this is all in your timing and not ours. We get impatient, Lord, and we're just human, Lord. We're sinners, Lord. But please help us keep you guiding us and us looking to you, Lord. And I thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys, I will see you tonight. I'm not sure what I'm going to do a show on yet, guys, because it's been really, really crazy in the house, and I still do work a full-time job. I'm going to try to hurry up and get back from the coast and put together a good Tracing Justice for you guys. I don't know if Tracy's going to be on tonight. She's probably going to be watching the grandkids, so it's probably just going to be me tonight. So we may do an old school dig show. We may, I don't know what we're going to do yet, but we're going to do something. So join us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be on YouTube, that's going to be on Facebook, that's going to be on Rumble, X, and Pill.net. So wherever you want to watch us from, make sure you're just joining us tonight and hopping in the chat and telling me hi. At least that you're, saying, hey, how's it going? So again, guys, you got to remember these three things. Let's go make fishers of men. Let's go save some souls. And let's go save the Republic. I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Thank you so much.
You thought you could bury me. Thought the dark would close in. You were wrong. You don't know who I am. And you never will. You drew the line in the dirt and flame. They said I'd break, said I'd shame. Whispered threats through a locked back door, but I've heard sound before. You pushed and pulled, tried to crack my back, but I don't collapse like that. I don't run, I don't bend, I don't bow to fear of men. When the dust clears, you'll see you never buried me. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard, not just whispered in time. You can't stop this, we will not fall. When justice rises, it answers the call. You thought you knew what I stood on, but this ground's been here too long. Stealing the blood, fire and breath. I don't scare easy at talk of death. You don't know the weight I carry, or the hand that stands behind me. You can shout, you can lie, try to crucify, but chains you swing and stones you throw only make the pressure grow. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard in its own time. You can't stop us, we will not fall. Justice is coming, and it's coming for all. You thought you could take me down. You don't know who I am. I don't stand alone. God holds my sword of truth.